right, so good morning. Good morning. Good students. Yeah, that's what I want to do to make sure that the students are awake, and so I got to see and hear your uplifting response. So welcome back, and to our second day. I do hope that you had a wonderful night, and I hope your wonderful night means need a good sleep, not like going out and explore. But you could do that later on after all these wonderful days and being here with us. And so hopefully you get some good ideas, good innovative thought, and then bring it back for further discussion. So hope you do that. Oh, by the way, this is Gary Wong, and I'm glad to be the facilitator and coordinator today, as well as Shihui. We are coordinating the whole event today. So hopefully today you will enjoy all the sessions as well as how you enjoyed it yesterday. So let's start it with Keynote. So let me introduce Professor Cecilia Chen, and for her, okay. All right, so Professor Chen is going to give a keynote on aligning AI literacies with industry, a multidisciplinary approach to future readiness. So I have an honor to introduce her to all of you and present her to you today. And Professor Cecilia Chen is a professor in the Faculty of Education in the University of Hong Kong, and also the director for the Teachings and Learning Innovation Center at the university. With a dual discipline background, she possesses expertise in both engineering and education, particularly higher education. Her combined expertise in these fields has enabled her to lead and conduct research on topics such as assessment and feedback, experiential learning, and technology-enhanced learning, with a particular focus on artificial intelligence in education and the development and assessment of 21st century skills holistic competencies. Professor Chen served as the president of the Asian Society for Engineering Education. She's also an associate editor for both the Journals of Engineering Education and Studies in Educational Evaluations. So her work, adopted by software companies and utilized globally, has garnered industry donations and funding. She continues to work closely with organizations worldwide to promote the development of holistic competencies. So without further ado, let's welcome Professor Chen.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you very much. And well, first of all, I'm very honored to be here today to this joint workshop. And as among my scholars in this area, so thank you very much for inviting me. Yes, I'm going to talk a little bit about AI literacy in the different disciplines today. Okay, and but before I do that, as Gary mentioned, I am the director of teaching and learning at the university. We always promote and encourage active learning. So what I want you guys to do is I don't want you to just sit there listening to me. I want you guys to work with me. So first things first, right? I have as a teacher, so you guys know how to use it. So take a picture of the QR code. Now, what I am presenting today is the first time I'm presenting this. Okay, so you do bear with me a little bit. So first question. Have you actually used Gen AI technology such as ChatGPT? I presume most of you have, given that you are technology education students. So this is the first question, right? I've used Gen AI technology such as ChatGPT. Okay, now next, what AI tools have you used? You share with me, what AI tools have you used? I know for those of you from East China Normal University, you probably use something more even innovative than what we have here in Hong Kong, so you can definitely share with us. Okay, we'll see ChatGPT, Bing AI. Some detectors as well. Okay. Now, next question. How are you using Gen AI? How are you using Gen AI? brainstorm, for question and answer, for improving writing, okay, for clarifying concept, to proofread, mostly for writing revision of grammatical check, quizzes, refine writing, discuss ideas, to deal with paperwork. Have you guys heard of the term AI guilt? Yes. So, you know, you use AI, but then, you know, you feel guilty, right? This is a new terminology, right? Like, should I be using AI? Should I not be using AI? Should I not using AI? Even though, you know, at the University of Hong Kong, we are embracing the use of AI, right, in our policy. But then exactly, at what extent do you think that we should be using it? Okay. So that is obviously a lot of research work that we're going to do in that area as well. Okay, and writing code, very good, structured text. Now I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint, okay, and then continue. Now I have a few questions for you to think about, right? So the title is about future readiness, okay. So do you think you are future ready? Are you future ready? Are you ready for more unexpected events? Are you ready to be replaced? Are you ready to accept more new ideas in this new world? Obviously, we're changing, right? Everything is shifting into a new culture. And so many researchers, right, are predicting that in the next 5 years or 10 years, more than 65% of the job currently exists will be obsolete. That means things that we are now teaching our students, right? Most of you are doing your postgrad, so you are probably going to be a teacher of some kind, either in higher education or in secondary or primary school. Okay, so what we are teaching our students may no longer be most useful for them to land a job. Now, of course, as an educator, it's not all about landing the job, right? But you say to our students, all they care is that piece of paper, that's transcript for their job. So obviously there's that shift of mind in terms of, you know, what are these skills, what are these future readiness we need? Okay. And then we have news headline, okay, saying AI will take 20% of all jobs within 5 years. Now that obviously scares us in some way. And then AI ChatGPT is helping CEOs to think, would it also take your job? Now, of course, we are worried that we will be replaced. Okay, there have been many studies saying that 1 out of 5 jobs will be automated by AI. And then, of course, then our students are thinking, hey, is it worth our while? You know, to pay all the money to go to university. And these are all, you know, at the end of the day, education is somehow a business, right? Is it worth our while? And some American university costs like what? You know, I was actually looking at it the other day for my daughter at the information day. It was like 300,000 Hong Kong dollar per term. Okay. So this is something we need to think about. Now, you would also have seen this before, okay? That came out in March 27 by Goldman Sachs. And you can see this particular chart. On the one side, legal, you can see that office, administrative support, legal, architecture and engineering easily exposed to automation, okay, can be easily changed by AI. Okay. Obviously, this is the US and Europe. But on the other side, more kind of hands-on job, construction, extraction, architecture, installation, cleaning are not. And people like us in a knowledge-based economy, Hong Kong, right on the top here, because we're developing, we're kind of knowledge-based, we can also be easily, right, replaced by automation. So you probably have seen this before. I have seen this many times by many, but I thought I'd send it out here anyway. Okay, so what can we do to ensure our students are future ready? What we need to really think about. Now, for me, okay, a little bit about me. Unlike Professor Loken or Professor Laura or Professor Law there, right, and who've been researching on this area of digital competence, right, or machine learning competence in education for many years. Now, I am a newbie. I'm a newbie in time, okay? I have only been researching on this AI in education for the last 10 months. Okay? Yeah. But as my colleague Gary mentioned, that I have a dual background. So my background is in engineering. Okay, so many years, moons ago, right? My PhD is on machine vision, DSP, machine learning. Okay, so that kind of brings me, oh yeah, I remember that, right? A bit of AI, yes. And of course, my own research area, kind of assessment, holistic competence. But because of my duty being the director of teaching and learning, I've been in teaching and learning for a long time now in this university. And sometimes I have to learn a lot of new different things, And so when COVID comes, I have to learn what's happening in COVID, what we need to do, change into, a flip format or online format. And now with Gen AI, I also need to be finding out. And probably a little bit easier for me given my background. So, and of course, one of my area of research is 21st century skills, and I call it holistic competence, more like a whole journey for people. And it does change. And AI literacy is definitely one of them. Okay, so this is how, in a way, I'm getting into it anyway. And a lot of my students are here, right? And they are also researching on AI in education as well, and kind of influencing them. This is a good area. Okay. So we know AI is already here, okay? There's no point thinking about, oh, let's go backwards. But is it a game changer or a Pandora's box? This is something that we need to think about. So that kind of depends on what our move as human and as educator. Okay? So I think to understand what we need to prepare AI in this age, right? In terms of future readiness, we need to know what AI literacy is actually involved. Okay? So, what is AI literacy? Okay, I think that's the main thing, and it's very important for me. Okay, because for me, if in order to support students, support staff, I need to know, hey, what is it? In what area am I supporting? Am I teaching everybody how to program? Right? I mean, that's one way. Okay. Or what is it I need to support them on? Okay, guide them. And for you guys who are future teachers, you will need to do the same. So I need you to go back to this, okay, and I need you to think about this question. So what do you think are the essential aspects? Did I just run so fast? Sorry, I'm going back here for a second. Those are going to need to. Assuming people online can all hear us as well, right? Not ignoring you totally. So feel free to go on to the Mentimeter as well. So the question is, what are the essential aspects you believe that you need in order to be competent in AI for everyday life? Okay. Ethics, values of AI, how to use AI tools, how to write prompts, verify information, knowledge and basic of AI or company use application tools, use AI tool efficiently or proficiently. Computer, some logic, emotional intelligence. Very good, wow, very good. 21st century live communication skills, express ourselves, acceptance. Thank you. Very good. Okay, so these are some of the ones that you guys are mentioning, and that are the elements that need to be. So what I have done is, well, actually, talk about this. So who coined AI literacy? Well, I can't find it. I asked ChatGPT, Microsoft, asked absolutely everyone. And I actually did a lot of work on it, but there's no exact origin of who coined this AI literacy, Yeah, it's hard to know who they are, right? And but instead of that, I went through literature, okay? So these are only some of them. And these are some of them I feel is quite influential, okay? So you can see the first one, Canhofer, 2019. And the team actually proposed an AI education framework, okay, targeting, different level of education, okay. They try to define an AI literacy, what they are, and step-by-step education focus. And we have students, right, and et al. And some of the team members in Hong Kong U in 2021 they did a exploratory review, and they actually proposed a multi-dimensional framework. I quite like this one as well. This is the third one on 4 key aspects. So knowing and understanding AI, applying AI, evaluating and creating with AI, and addressing AI ethics, right? And they map it onto the Bloom's taxonomy. Okay? So I quite like that one as well. You can see there's quite a loads of different ones. And then there are other things like, is AI literacy the term we should be using? So we have colleagues, right, talking about AI readiness. I think, Rose, I think I arrived to one of you mentioned about AI readiness before. Then is AI capabilities. Okay, so is AI literacy should be the term that universally should be used? Okay, and there's another one which I like a lot. If you guys are going to only read one paper about AI literacy, I do think this one, La Picture, is the Scooping Literature Review. It's probably one of the newer ones as well. I think that is actually a really, really good paper. It provides a lot of, most of these, right, actually, one other thing I do want to mention, most of these paper are literature review, okay? They're not empirical studies. But yeah, this one is actually quite good, probably because it's in higher education as well. I kind of like that, okay? And so what I've done is I went through a whole load of literature, okay? And then I also did a lot of collecting a lot of data, with about, I think about 400 or 500 students, 200 or 300 teachers, in terms of like, what should, basically that question I gave, what should be important? What do you want to learn in AI? Okay, and basically come up with this definition. So the definition of AI literacy for any typical individual is the ability to comprehend, to interact with, to make informed decisions regarding AI technology in daily lives. Okay, and there are 5 elements. So the first one is AI concept. Then we have AI application, AI hype versus reality, AI safety and security, and responsible AI usage. Okay, now AI concept. Obviously, I'm not talking about to the level that you really need to understand every single mathematical equation, which one of the students, mentioned, like from tokenization to what we call attention mechanism and so forth, right? We don't need to know that. I'm just kind of bringing my engineering, technical background coming in. But you would at least should know, what is artificial narrow intelligence? What is artificial general intelligence? And what is artificial super intelligence? What are we talking about when people mention this ASI? So if Terminator turn up at your door, you know that you should run. Okay, so these are kind of things you should at least kind of know about. Then AI application, you guys are mentioning like you was using ChatGPT and Prof, right? So that's kind of the basic level of some of these applications. But what other applications you might need, right? But at least that's the minimum you should kind of know. Then AI hype and virtual reality. And my father, like Rose, I like to tell stories as well. And my father, his eyes not very good anymore. So one day I was in his house and go, come here, it's really good. Tyson is fighting a boxing match with Bruce Lee. Right? And I was like, what? It's really good, it's really good. And he made me sit there and look at it, right? And it was actually, the avatar, but it was really lookalike. And even I was like, okay, this is. But then I go, Dad, Bruce Lee is gone, right? Okay. So, and then he goes, yeah, but look, it's really good. And I said, no, this could not have happened, right? And this is obviously animation. But for him, right, between his eyes not very good and being elderly, that deep situations have occurred in his life, maybe for good, maybe for bad, but at least we should know there's a difference, okay? And then AI safety and security, okay? The data. So if you are using an AI application, do you know where the data were trained? How are they trained? Okay, but we know that we don't know everything because most of these companies wouldn't tell us. But it is at least to be aware of these, data. Responsible AI, how would you use it? So remember I mentioned about AI guilt, okay? as I said, it's okay to use it, but then of course there's a borderline, right? And someone will ask me when I do these talks, right, for the faculties, but we can't use detection software because it's not accurate enough, right? So how do we know? Well, we kind of need to educate our students, right? You're here to learn. You're not here to copy, right? You're not here to send in a problem, press the button and then copy. And of course, we don't know either, okay? I mean, let's be honest, right? We don't know if you did. The only way we know is that if you decided that to copy everything, including the generate response at the end and just dumped it in. And we have students, but not us. I have heard another university have a student do that, okay? Now, so this is kind of the fundamental. So as I mentioned, this is just for average individual, not just for us here, maybe for people like, as I mentioned, my father, my mother, and my children, okay? Average individuals should have at least the basic level. But then I think we need more than that. And this is where I need my notes, because I said it wrongly. What I think we need is, oh yeah, that's it. But basically AI is context dependent, okay? There was an article in Forbes by this particular lady called Kalagawa, okay, in 2021. And she had done some work on AI literacy and it can be extremely context dependent. So to actually prepare the future workforce to be future ready, it is actually essential not to just explore generic AI literacy like this particular framework, but also specific AI literacy that require in your role or in your industry. For example, as a teacher, okay, what other AI literacy elements would you need? So we have this dynamic AI literacy model, okay? So on one side, on the left-hand side, the right-hand side, okay, on this side, okay, there is there's the 5 elements, okay, the fundamental framework for average, plus the additional AI literacy aspect relevant to the role, okay? And it could be a different literacy. There could be high literacy, medium literacy, low literacy, even for these AI concepts, is fundamental. Okay, so these are kind of this is the dynamic. And why do I call it dynamic? Because it changes depending what you're doing, what industry you're going into, what level you are in. So if you're going in as a graduate, right, it might be different. But if you're going in as a senior, specialist, it could be different as well. Okay. Now, so an example. What do you guys think? AI software programmer and a medical GP, what do they need? What kind of level of AI literacy would they need? Okay. So if we think of an AI software programmer, we probably need a very high level literacy across all the 5 elements that I mentioned about, especially in terms of the AI concept, right? They probably need to know about the policy as well. So in terms of like the General Data Protection Regulation, what we call the GDPR, and maybe the EU AI Act, right? Because there's high risk, okay? They could be programming something that they don't even realize is illegal, okay? And of course, there's an ethical behind it. Just because they're a programmer, and they can program in some way to steal all your money, right? Should they do it, okay? And all they might is just, a few touch of a button and then they can do that. So that's also the responsibility that they have, right? And for them who can actually do it, they need to be at a higher level of literacy. But then for GP, okay, a medical GP, what kind of literacy would they need? They probably don't need as high level as a programmer in terms of AI, but they need to know at least what is the trend in terms of AI and application in the medical field, okay? Because that will help their job more proficiently. They help the patient more proficiently, right? And as well as that is the data safety, okay? For a medical is very important, okay? So in that sense, they need it a bit higher, plus other things as well, okay? I think all these is needed. Do you guys know a term AI alignment? Okay, so AI alignment is really important for anybody, for every single human, okay? Because we have these fantastic programmers, right, who can build these ChatGPT, okay? But then what if, right, they forgot to put in a rule, okay? So it's not a story, that's actually a fiction, I think it's a fiction, right? And but there's a philosopher in Oxford, Nick Rostrom, I think that's his name, right? And he talked about this paperclip maximizer. So what happens if a programmer or an engineer say, hey, AI, please build in a factory as many paperclips as you can, okay? But forgot to say, where to stop. So then this AI machine together with the engineering, the robot behind it, like, oh yeah, okay, I do it. And then they start using all the resources there are in the earth, right? So from table, chairs, and then Gary, and then Carol, it basically so destroying humanity. So basically, it doesn't align what human is thinking because we might have neglected to do something, or we didn't say it properly, or AI decided that, because don't forget, AI have their own, rules in a way, right? If you say keep doing it until the end of the day, they will keep doing it until the end of the day. Okay, so that aligning, and sometimes we neglect to think every single detail, every single rules there are. Okay. So that's kind of AI alignment. And obviously for engineers, for programmers, those are really important as well. Okay, so this is kind of the difference, right? In terms of what a general framework, right, a foundational framework, and more a dynamic framework for different roles. Now, there are so many different apps out there these days, okay? And so from healthcare industry, retail, insurance, cybersecurity, and so forth, okay? For you guys as teacher, I want you to think about this. So what about, now I'm just talking about higher education teachers, right? So what about higher education teachers? What kind of AI literacy, apart from the basic, do you think you need? Putting mandating AI use in assignments, okay, ethical guidance, assessment, learning design with technology, how to prevent students from being over-reliant on Gen AI, how AI differs from I'm missing some HI is what?
Human intelligence.
Oh, human intelligence. Identify, told you I've only been in this for 10 months. And identify copy content of students submitted from AI, policy use of AI in student learning, human-machine collaboration. Okay, I think this is really important, human-machine collaboration one, right? Because some of us is thinking, oh, we should probably avoid it, right? We would probably do an assessment, right? And oral presentation. So we make sure that our student won't cheat. Okay, but this is not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is really embracing it. Okay, and at the same time, the student will learn different new things. Skills for using AI. How to let students take advantage of Gen AI. We use the word leverage, would probably be better. And how to develop student awareness of the limitation of AI, prevent plagiarism, knowledge and application of AI tools related to education and text generation, ethical issues, you detect your student misuse, right? I know that's always a difficult one, right? How to detect it. Know how far he should go, yes, the borderline. How AI can support learning, understand how AI can do and how it can be used. And use pen and paper when necessary. Okay. So these are some of the that you have put together. Now, so I have 7, okay? I have 7 AI literacy, which I'm not going to tell you, okay? And I'm going to tell you why later on, right? But so I basically put together 7, okay? Apart from your AI literacy framework, the foundation one, and the dynamic elements. But I'll tell you this in a second. Now, My student Carol is here. This is a paper that I work with her, right? We also look at students' voices, in terms of their adoption, what they think of it. And it was published a few months ago. Things have changed a lot from then since, right? But these questions, I think, is important for us to think about. First of all, are we using it? So I asked you guys about that. How are you using it? Okay, and how should we use it? Are we monitoring our usage? Because, as a teacher, even though we say we embrace Gen AI, we don't need to use Gen AI for absolutely everything either. Okay, so this is something that you need to think about. What exactly are the learning outcomes in your course? What are you trying to get your students to learn to come up with? So do we understand how it actually works? Could excessive use lead to reliance on it? Okay. Now, we also did a study, some students, and I thought that was very interesting. So we asked 5 students, secondary school students actually, and we said, hey, look, you have to do a reflection. But this reflection is kind of based on the few weeks that they're working here as an intern. You can do whatever you like with Gen AI. In fact, we want you to use it. Please use it. And we asked them to use both, right? The POD, because we can collect the history very easily. And we told them we're going to collect the history, how to use Gen AI. Okay? And they go, yeah, that's great. And we gave them a few hours to work on it. Okay. And afterwards, we interviewed them as well. And out of the 5 students, right, 3 of them only use it to generate outline, maybe check their grammar, and didn't really go into like the really deep. While 2 students, they basically put in their, their reflection, their ideas of the reflection and what they have come across with, right, and what they've learned in the last few weeks, right, and then put them in and then generate the Gen AI, and they're adding in different things. So there's different prompts, right? And we asked them, okay, we asked the ones who haven't really used it, right? They said, well, to be honest, when I come out, right, I need to know how to write. Okay, when I do my exam, I need to know how to write, because at least at the moment we are not putting Gen AI in the exam hall yet, right? So they go, we need to know that, and I don't want to be relying on it. Okay, and I thought that was interesting. Obviously, every student, every human being has a different way of interpreting it. So I'm not saying there's right or wrong, right? I mean, in a way, you might think, wow, those 3 students are good students, right? This is the thing, this is the mentality of us at the moment, right? So with 5 students, 3 students are not really using it. They only are like, good students, right? And then the other 2 are, depending on it, not good student, right? But it might not be. It might be because they are more, technology savvy. Maybe they're so used to using it, and they think it's actually okay. Again, this is something we need to study more in the future, because the whole cynic of this, right, is totally changing. So, and you will find students, I think you mentioned that, right? That students who actually using Gen AI could become top in the future. Okay, so this is something. And I do want to mention one thing as well. I know that we are encouraging all of us to use more critical thinking, right? To be more creative, because the human values are really important. But I think industry is not always asking the top. Okay, so kind of in a sad way, maybe I should mention. And do we always need the best copywriter? Okay. Or most people, most industry, most company go, hey, I need someone to write an article for me about my product. They just want to, describe it in a well. And that could be easily used using Gen AI. Okay, so there are going to be some jobs that can be, more useful, effective, and fast using Gen AI. There are some jobs not. So it is up to us as humans, what we can fulfill, what are the gaps there that we haven't done. Okay, sorry. So that's excessive use, right? Reliance on it. So would it replace us? Right? It's something we need to think about. There will be new jobs coming on. Right? There's one that I know it already is AI therapists. Right? Because we are dealing with too much technology, we're dealing with too much AI, and that people can get a job as a therapist to help students. Okay, and Could it diminish our opportunity to develop generic skills or even human values? Absolutely. So how do we make sure we don't? Should there be regulation? And would there be constant monitoring of such regulation? Okay. So these are obviously these kind of make us that, hey, we do need some kind of policy. So, I'm sorry. Do you guys need to explain?
Will never work.
Okay. I show you another one afterwards with everything in it. Okay, so there's another paper is about the AI policy education. Now, Hong Kong, you have a policy in place now. It was passed by Senate in July, I think. Remember July, and we did some work on that. So we did some research on this, and so there are three main elements. So there's the governance dimension, the pedagogical dimension, and operation dimension. Okay, and even though you see that senior management is on the governance dimension, right? In terms of, and then the pedagogical dimension, everybody needs to work together. It's just the people who are written there will be initiating, will be leading it. Let me have a quick look at the time. Okay, so in the governance dimension, there are four main kind of things we need the senior management to lead on, right? In terms of understanding, they identify what is misconduct, okay? Addressing the governance of AI, data privacy, transparency, and so forth. How do we attribute AI technology and ensuring equity, okay? These are the things that we need to do. Operational dimension. There will be myself, like people like myself, teaching and learning, and IT staff. We need to have monitoring, evaluating AI implementation. So we have to consider what products should we be actually embracing? Are students actually using it, or we just think they're using it, but they're not, right? What do we need to do? And then we need to provide training in terms of the technology and the support of it as well. And then the pedagogical dimension is for teachers, right? For you guys, you mentioned it in your elements in your Mentimeter there. So rethinking assessment and examination, develop students' competence, the human values you guys mentioned a lot, prepare students for the AI-driven workplace, and encourage a balanced approach. A balanced approach AI adoption is important. Right. So a little bit about what we have done, right? The university, or my center actually, have done quite a lot of support. So we have put together a guide for teachers, right? In the guide, there's for redesigning assessment in Gen AI. We are talking about embracing Gen AI altogether. So we have different scenarios for assessment redesign, attribution to AI. How do we attribute it to AI? We have a WhatsApp hotline. We also have an email for Gen AI. And this QR code should work. It's the Assessment Resources website, okay? And there are some of these leaflets inside there. So we have some assessment, Gen AI assessment leaflets, and also authentic assessment. And then there is this book, right, which I have here. You guys are welcome to have a look at this here. This is actually under the portal, so not everybody can get in. So I have one here, so you can look. So some scenario there, how we actually do it. And as well as that, we have an AI clinic. Okay, the clinic is staffed with colleagues from my center and some trained students for one-to-one support, including if sometimes university teachers can be a bit like stubborn, right, to change, right? They might be phobic and go, hey, I don't really know how to get into ChatGPT or Microsoft Azure that we have, so we help them with that. And we are looking into image, text, video, and we're looking at different API and plugins as well. The AI in Education website will be very, very soon launched in the next few days, right? So we have an AI education website. And then we have an AI literacy self-paced online course, which I'm going to show you a bit of a trailer. How many of you Hong Kong U students have actually gone from okay, very good. So this is a bit of trailer.
AI is everywhere. In this course, we will explore how to harness Gen AI tools, tapping into their potential to enhance learning and teaching experience. Ever wonder how to communicate with AI? We will look into the art of prompt engineering, guiding you through the intricacy of AI interaction. But what about the human touch? We will take a critical look at the challenges and concern of AI in assessment. How do we balance technology and humanity? How do we ensure ethical practices? Finally, we will explore AI policy, equipping you with the knowledge to navigate the complexity of AI in higher education responsibly and ethically. So are you ready to take the leap into the future of learning? Welcome to the world of AI literacy.
Okay, so the module have actually the course has 5 modules in it. Okay, and so from introduction to AI to prompt engineering, AI literacy, and assessment and policy. And in fairness, right, for those of you who are in Hong Kong U and haven't going to use it, because you will get a certificate from Hong Kong U before you finish your degree, so that's pretty good anyway. And as well as that, it's only about 5 hours maximum. I think it's about 5 hours, so it's not very long. I think I'm just about to finish, right? But I think we need to rethink our pedagogy, right? Not just the assessment part, but also the whole learning process. I think it's changed, right? It's not just assessment we really care about. It's the learning process. If we want our students to learn, okay, it's the process we need to think about, okay? And we need to ensure there's a balance in relation to how we adopt the AI tools and the learning, particularly in terms of what we talk about, the holistic competence, the future readiness. We need mind shifting for both students and teachers. Okay, I think the future of education lies in the synergy between human teachers and AI. Okay? We can't really get away from that. So understanding the unique quality of both, right? You know, what can students, teachers, university can give us, and what can AI give us to become more groundful. Now, I mentioned before that I wasn't going to give you my 7 elements in pedagogy. So this is the book. Yeah, it is going to be out probably the end of the year, right? So I just finished it last week. Actually, I just finished a few days ago. And so it is called ChatGPT Effect, Generative AI in Higher Education. It is going to be open access. Okay, so you will be able to see, you know, the 7 elements, but you can at least then go into it, look into it. It will be in chapter 2. So I have chapter 1 is about introduction to AI in higher education. Chapter 2, AI literacy. Chapter 3 is about curriculum design, especially the SWOT analysis. Chapter 4, assessment, how we redesign assessment in this era. And then we have policy. Chapter 6 is quite long. If you want to really delve into the technology of it, that's why I have another co-author who is a technical engineer person and basically went into the technology and how it can help. And then the future of AI, which is interesting, okay? And just one little thing. In chapter 3, I think it is, right? We have a whole list of pedagogy facilitated by AI-human partnership. There's about 150 of this list, okay, which could be helpful. So I would encourage you to go and have a look as well. And there are some papers, right? So if you want to take, so if this should work, hopefully it should work. So there's some papers, some of them are already published, some of them are under review. Okay, so but you should be able to get the preprints out of it. Last thing. So history has shown us that when technology are used appropriately and judiciously, they work alongside us to improve our way of living. And I think that's true, like smartphone. Whether AI technology is a game changer for us or Pandora's box, it really doesn't matter. Okay, what matters is how we can leverage this opportunity while remaining ethical. Okay, we need to use our imagination and be future ready. And the question is, are you ready to move forward with it? Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Professor Chen, for the profound and insightful sharing today, and a very rich set of the information about AI literacies and the development of AI. So it's very wonderful sharing today. So let's open it to the floor for questions.
Thank you. I really enjoyed that. I have a question about a really important point you make with respect to the difference in the AI literacy that people need depending on their role. So I think this is the fundamental point, is this contextualization of AI understanding. We call it AI readiness, we call it AI literacy. It doesn't really matter which term we use, but in order to help people really understand how to leverage AI, I think it does have to be contextualized. But that's a huge project, isn't it? So I guess it's the kind of question I'm asking myself, but I'm asking you, how do we go about that contextualization process? Is there a generic set of processes in terms of understanding somebody's context and then relating it back to the way we talk about AI? What's your thinking about that?
Yeah, no, it's an important one, right? And what you just said at the very beginning, you said you enjoy that. Yes, I'm going to record that. That's important for me. Okay, it's going to be written there. And no, I think it's important. Actually, I've got some funding from the government to work with the other 7 public universities, right, in Hong Kong, to actually look into this with the different industry. Okay. Now, obviously, I'm only in my role, especially, I'm only interested in how to help graduates, to land their first job. So I probably wouldn't go all the way up to director, specialist level, but I'm interested in how our graduates will be ready for the medicine, business, insurance company, and education and so forth. So yes, that is something that it is a big project, but we're working together and we're kind of, invite more people. I mean, Rose, absolutely, you as our advisor, we would absolutely love to have you there.
I'd like to know more about it because I think it is really important. I don't think anybody's got the answers, so it's really nice to hear that you've got that project because I think that's really important. Thank you, Cecilia.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Professor. It was really exciting presentation and a really good informative presentation. I really enjoyed it. And you in your presentation, you said that 1/4 of the current jobs will be replaced by AI in the future. And I checked the table, I triple checked the table. Education is not there. That means we're safe. And I have another question. I was an English teacher for 10 years. I learned very hard how to teach English, but do we need to teach kids English anymore? Because we have all kinds of translation and AI powered software that can do the translation in a second. So do we have to teach them language anymore?
I ran a workshop for the Faculty of Arts, right? So the dean was talking to me about this, okay? It's like, hey, what are we gonna do, right? And I think everybody, obviously we are Asian, right? So able to speak in other languages is important, and AI cannot do that for us, right? Unless we have a new engineering, put into our voice box or something. I don't think we're there yet, right? And but in terms of yes, AI can do it. Doesn't mean human can automatically do it, right? I mean, it depends what we want them to do. That's important. If you're an engineer, okay, getting Gen AI to gen the report out in a really nice English, yeah, I think that's fine. But if you are studying English literature or English study, right, I think that person really need to know how to do it, okay? And then it goes back to the curriculum design and the assessment design, right? And again, I have a lot of examples, right, to how to do that. So in the previous life, right? In our previous life, we basically asked you, write an essay, go home, write an essay about this topic, right? And then, we mark it all happy, right? But now we can't do that because they could generate it, right? We don't know how much they've done, we want them to learn. So instead of that, say an essay, we first engineer it, okay, we can actually ask Gen AI to generate 10, 11, 15 essay on the topic that we want, okay? Then we pass to the student to ask them to critique it, okay? Critique it and give them the rubrics or give them whatever, you know, the theme that you have, critique it. Then ask them to rewrite an essay plan, okay? So obviously that's harder for Gen AI to generate, but then you still get almost all the elements of the process, the learning process of an essay, you know, and I think those are kind of important. And you really know, I really wanted to write, right? So the Dean of Arts, right? No, writing is one. Okay. Then in that case, right, get them to work in the team or get them to start doing the work in class. Okay. So the thinking, we can do it at home. Then the coming back is write a little bit of it and then finish it. I think those kind of important.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cecilia. I really enjoyed it. It's really very well thought through, and I particularly like the idea that AI literacy is context dependent. And it's exciting to know that you're doing this new project with different faculties and so on. My question is, so we are now talking about what is AI literacy. But the issue is how also, right? And I'm thinking about as a teacher at Hong Kong, you really have the trip. And so how, so I'm wondering, say, in this process of doing this new project, what would be the role of people like me who's trying to learn? And how can I be incorporated into that process?
So, well, I suppose, like, you know, you are an expert person, right? And now for maybe what I mean, as the teaching and learning person, so that's why we have the different support for our students and our teachers, you know, and in terms of how they actually learn, obviously, time is always limited. Okay, and that's why we have a short AI literacy course for them. So to learn the basic, right? And if you follow it, you know, line by line, you actually go into the different application and play with it and use the different prompt engineering and try it. And from playing with it, you will see, hey, wow, it's not accurate. There's bias in the data that they're training. And you can also see, you know, what is the good thing you can use it for. You guys already mentioned it, right? You know, summarizing, grammar, you know, outlining. You know, one thing I love doing with it is using it as an administrative assistant. Okay, so we get a lot of emails. So I copy the email, dumped it in, and say reply politely, but say no. Okay, and then they can generate, you know. So I think for something like this, if we really want to know how to use it, we need to do a hands-on, and that's why we have something, the AI clinic. Okay, so people who are phobic to technology come to us, we work with you. Okay, and I do think for, you know, for teachers, they would need to do something like that as well, and that's why we have that course. If teachers are not interested in AI literacy, I tell them to at least tell your student, right, that they need to go into it. Does that answer a little bit of your?
Yeah, thank you. I was thinking there is great diversity among teachers, and also, I mean, teachers in university, we also have a lot of pressure to catch up, not only on the technology, but also in our own field. So how can you, so we can be talking a lot about what should be AI literacy in different disciplines, but how would it, but we have to be preparing both for the what and the how. So I'm just wondering how you are designing your study in order to work both out.
Yeah, no, it is a difficult one. I mean, how to help the teacher in their discipline, we have to do some research first, right? Because that is, you know, it's contact based, right? So that is why we have that project. So if you are in business, right, in accountant, you know, there's also an accreditation body that we have to worry about, right? So we need to look into the different, you know, different level, different things, and how much AI would accountant firm really use, okay? So we have to go into the industry and talk to them. And maybe some industry doesn't even know that they can use AI. Like I've been invited to a number of companies to actually talk about AI. I think financial insurance, telecommunication company, right? And some of them are not using it yet, which is surprising. So it is something that we need to do a bit more research on. But in terms of helping the teachers, we are kind of pretty much ready. We don't expect them to be absolute expert and start programming and destroy humanity, right? That's not what we are expecting. But we're hoping that at least they would use ChatGPT or the Hong Kong New Microsoft Azure one and try that. That is what we try.
Then.
Many thanks for the very interesting talk. And actually, my question, since actually we are educated teachers here, and to teach the students later to prepare them for the AI readiness, for the AI future. So what kind of special teachers should we have related to the AI readiness for the students in primary school, in high school, and so on? So
You guys.
so I think content-wise, and also so AI readiness for the students. What does it mean? Should the subject be changed, and should the way be changed in the education area for the students?
I think I know what you mean. I don't think we need to go that complicated either, right? It's like using a smartphone. You don't get a course on, you don't get a special course on a smartphone how to use it. You kind of get used to it and go, oh, this stuff. And then someone go, hey, you use this, right? And then you try. What we want to do is, because Gen AI is a little bit more, related to education, right? They can do things rather than smartphone. So that's why we have a course on it. But we do want people to get better at it and get ready for their work, in the future into their discipline. And that's why. But I don't think we need to be too worried, right? And of course, people like you here, all of you here are the future of this, technology or AI, competence teachers.
Because my question actually for the kids, they're still studying the things I studied 30 years ago. That's my question. Should something change according to the change with the technology and so on?
I do think so. I think the way we design our curriculum and assessment needs to change. Yeah, that is definitely. But incorporating the Gen AI in as a process rather than as a knowledge.
So, and what and how do you need to be think about?
Well, you're not changing. So if you're teaching, say you're teaching experiential learning, right? Or constructive stuff. You still teach that, right? You're still teaching that knowledge, but it's the activity you use. It's a process you use, right? Instead of just lecturing to them, okay? You might use, hey, I might embrace some Gen AI in that process, but still teaching the same topic of area.